How's it going, YouTube? Archetype Magician Girl here. Since two of you requested artifacts for the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Did You Know, they shall be this week's featured archetype. Conveniently, there are less than 15 artifact monsters, making it possible for me to cover all of them. Now, while artifacts are molded after weapons, most correspond with mythical or legendary wielders, as most artifact monsters depict a spirit of some kind wielding them. So, without further ado, onward with the weapon analysis of artifacts. First up is artifact Scythe, not to be confused with a sickle, or a precursor to the scythe which was significantly smaller in size. A scythe consists of a long shaft or pole that may be either straight or S-curved. Scythes developed in early Europe, predating the birth of Jesus Christ, and were originally used to reap crops. However, the scythe has appeared in numerous legends and mythologies. The most infamous wielder of the scythe is none other than the Grim Reaper himself, and is most likely the spirit wielding the weapon in the depicted card art. Moraltech and Begaltech go hand in hand and stem from Irish mythology. Wielded by the mythological figure Diarmid, Moraltech and Begaltech are sibling blades. Translated, Moraltech means Great Fury and is depicted as a large sword, whereas Begaltech, translated, is Little Fury and is depicted as a dagger. Nevertheless, legend says that the blades were said to cause great wounds in a single stroke. Stemming from Arthurian folklore and tales from the Knights of the Round Table, artifact Failnaught receives its inspiration from Sir Tristan's unfailing bow. Described as Sir Tristan's specialty trap, the Fail-Not bow was said to always hit its mark. Acting as Axel's weapon of choice, artifact Chakram is inspired by a weapon which originates from India. Chakrams are aerodynamic discs that could just as easily be thrown in battle as they could be used in hand-to-hand combat. Artifact Chakram is molded after the weapon of the Hindu god Vishnu. Much more easily thrown and not as easily hindered by the wind due to its flat disc shape, Chakrams appear in Indian martial arts and are utilized by what is called the Tahani technique. Backtracking to Christian myth, artifact Longius is inspired by the Spear of Destiny, or the lance which pierced the side of Christ during his crucifixion. Believed to be instilled with godly powers, churches and museums take great care in protecting the artifact, lest it fall into the hands of the faithless. Stemming from Greek mythology, artifact Labrys is associated with being a weapon most commonly wielded by female divinities, and if you look closely, the weapon is in fact wielded by a female spirit in the card art. Taking the form of a double-headed axe, Labryses are used as a symbol for the beginning of creation. Wielded by Hermes, artifact Caduceus is inspired by what is depicted as a staff entwined by two serpents and surmounted by wings. In Roman mythology, the Caduceus is often held in the left hand of Mercury, who is the messenger of gods, guide of the dead, and protector of merchants, shepherds, gamblers, liars, and thieves. Fun fact, it should also be mentioned that the caduceus is incorrectly associated with medicine, and is often confused with the rod of Asclepius. The rod of Asclepius, the correct staff of medicine, only has one snake entwining the rod, not two. Artifact Achilles' shield is inspired by the shield used by none other than Achilles himself in his fight with Hector, the greatest fighter for Troy during the Trojan War. In Homer's Iliad, the poem explains that Achilles lent his armor to a comrade, who was later slain by Hector in battle. When Hector claims the armor as war spoils, Achilles' mother prays to the god Hephaestus, who offers his shield as replacement armor. Artifact Aegis is inspired by one of Athena's belongings, often depicted as an animal skin or shield bearing the head of a Gorgon at its center. The Aegis was made on Hephaestus' forge and worn by Athena in battle. The Aegis was also said to emit a threatening roar of dragons and grant the wearer a considerable degree of protection. Concluding the artifact archetype is artifact Durandal, which was said to be God-given. Stemming from Christianity, it was believed that Durandal was given to the legendary figure of France named Roland by an angel. The sword was believed to contain one tooth of St. Peter, the blood of St. Basil, some hair of St. Denis, and a piece of clothing from the Virgin Mary, all within its golden hilt. In addition to that, it was said to have been the sharpest sword in all existence. So now you know that artifacts are based on legendary weapons, and that the spirits depicted in the card art are most likely their corresponding legendary wielder. I predict that Konami couldn't possibly be done with artifacts, seeing as there are so many more weapons stemming from mythological lore and the like. Either way, I hope this week's Yu-Gi-Oh! Did You Know helped you learn a little bit more about this fairly new archetype. As always, if you want to learn more about a specific archetype, suggest it in the comments below. Until next time, AMG out.